Right, now we've got the circlips off, you can just see that the last little bit of preload on the springs has just pushed the fork bottoms off the stanchions a bit there. You can just see that end has recessed back into the fork. That's not a problem. Just going to take the fork bottoms off now, which will reveal my last attempt at putting springs into this thing, which are not successful. Namely some old B&Q gate hinges, which you can see in all their glory just here. Needless to say, I decided these weren't going to do the job. So spot the continuity error. You can see what I've done here is just rebuilt the elastomer stack onto the fork skewer so you can see what it looked like. What you can't see here is how bad they are. And here's a close-up. Each of these washers has a raised lip which stops the elastomer slipping sideways, and I'm going to reuse those to stop the springs doing the same thing. And here's another look at my first attempt. These were literally old B&Q gate springs, and I figured they'd provide a decent amount of preload while fitting in quite nicely. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the ends to fit, and also you'll notice that the spring is going to bow out as soon as it gets under any kind of compression. So here's a fork with the original elastomer stack built up again. So I'm just going to show you how to take that off now. What I'm doing there is putting a spoke into a small hole about 3 mm in diameter, and that stops the skewer rotating. That enables me to undo that threaded cap that you can see there. That's it. And now I'm just going to take off each of the elastomers in turn. Now, again, I'll emphasise this, you've got to keep the little white washers between each of the elastomers. I haven't used that fat one there, but I'm keeping all the rest, and they're going to stop the little springs I'm putting in from bowing out sideways, which is quite important to keep those to one side. So now the first thing I'm going to do as I assemble a new stack is to put what basically amounts to a brewer's bung in there, a little rubber bung, about 3/4 of an inch, 19 mm in diameter. And all that is like a bump stop. So if the springs actually do totally bottom out, then it just gives a little bit of resilience to the whole setup. You know, you don't suddenly get metal on metal. But those are very stiff, they're not going to compress very much. I'm just sliding an M5 washer there for the spring to sit on. You can see that. Spring will bear up against that so it won't rip the rubber to shreds. And now we're ready to start assembling the spring stack. So here are the springs ready to put in, and you can see what you got there is a stiff little spring about 1 inch long, 25 mm long, about 16 mm in diameter. And the spring rate of these is, for the technically minded, about 30 newtons per millimetre, or 3 kilograms per millimetre. So you can see that on a 50 mm travel fork like this one, the force required to compress each leg is going to be about 150 kilos. Now I may have overestimated that a bit, but the aim is there. If I'm riding along and I hit a great big tree root or something, that I don't bottom the thing out immediately. So these are pretty stiff. So here I'm just starting to assemble these small springs under the skewer, and those are the washers you should have kept back from earlier. So first spring goes onto the steel washer, plastic washer goes over there, and as I say, there's a little lip round the edge there, so stops the springs trying to slide away from each other. And I'm just going to assemble the first 5 on the skewer here, and I'll need to do something else with number 6 because that goes over the edge of the skewer, and I'm going to have to pull the whole stack down to get the preload on it. So just the first 5 on there, plus a washer. They're ready to put the last one on. So here you can see I've just got the fork on my lap for a bit of support there. I'm going to have to be pushing down fairly hard on this stack. So on goes the, no, not yet. Just going to put the end cap on. Start screwing that down. You can see I'm having to hold that down fairly hard. You could possibly do this on a workbench or with a vise or something like that, but this kind of worked. I'm just putting that bit of wire into that hole I talked about previously. That stops the skewer from rotating while I tighten the end cap up. Thinking that's an old bicycle spoke that I'm using there, but you can use a thin screwdriver or anything else. Just tighten that down, and there is your spring stack. And obviously the other stack done in exactly the same manner.